Oh, hey. Uh, I am making a puzzle. I've decided that I need to have things to do other than politics and comedy and other things that I stress out about. So I ordered this 3D puzzle. It's a miniature, well, basically it's a little miniature terrarium thing. But it looked, I don't know. It says miniature house, Kathy's flower house. I don't know Kathy, but I'm sure she's great. Um, I'm also using a new streaming platform, new to me streaming platform. So, SAR, I am going to attempt to check out your comments and such, but I can't commit to seeing them all, which is just a delight, isn't it? Do-do-do. This is actually kind of fun for me. It may not be for you, but it is for me. I like to learn how things work, and I like to put things together and take them apart. And so I'm kind of doing both right now. I'm learning a new, like I'm testing a new way to do a live stream with this overhead camera, and I'm building something. So what a delight. All right. You may be hearing in the background Disney like long videos from YouTube of people doing like walkthroughs of Disneyland and Disney World. Like they're just recording, walking through the entire park and riding all the rides, but they don't say anything. It's something my roommate plays for his dog who's out here with me, and she needs as much audio distraction as she can get. Because she's also, she's super neurotic, like me. But at some point while I'm doing this, probably several points while I'm doing this, she's gonna freak out over nothing. She's gonna think she saw something, think she heard something, and she didn't, but she thinks she did, and she's certain. And sometimes all we can do is show her there's nothing outside, and then hope she calms down. So anyway, back to the magic of putting together Kathy's flower house. Like I said, I don't know Kathy. I'm sure she's a lovely person. Or they. I don't know Kathy. Kathy might use they, them pronouns. I don't know. But I'm sure Kathy's great. And hopefully, if Kathy isn't, if listen, if Kathy's dead, I hope her spirit doesn't haunt me as I do this poorly. Yeah, that's all I got. I don't really want to talk about Kathy anymore. Although now that I've said that, all I can think about is what else do I want to say about Kathy. Knife safety tip, by the way, I should have said this when I was doing it. It's really important that if you use any kind of knife, you may know this, but some people don't. I learned this from my dad. You always cut away. The sharp edge of the blade always should be cutting away from you, even if it's really inconvenient, like you're trying to cut the tape on an Amazon box. You can flatten it. It's not worth the skipping, like what's the word I'm looking for? It's not worth the whatever. It's not worth cutting closer to you just because it's a little bit easier. Saves you a little effort. Oh my God. So Kathy's Flower House has, when you get like furniture from Amazon or IKEA and it has like 4 pages of really, really, really basic illustrations, and maybe there's text, and sometimes if there is, it's in English, but clearly written by someone who doesn't speak English very well. That's not what's happening here. There are, Jesus, it's full color. Look at all of this. These are all the instructions. 42 pages of instructions. So look, I don't blame you if you don't stick around the whole time. I'll be here. Although having said that, this might take a while to put together. I don't know. It's my first one of these. But it's got all this fun stuff. And the ADHD, side of me, which is all sides of me, it's just, I don't know if you can hear this, but it's like all these little bags make different sounds because they're different kind of stuff. All right. So All right, read along with me, won't you? Assembly tips, remove the tape from the side with the tip of the tweezers. That would imply that there there are tweezers. Oh, okay. All right. So we've got, okay, this really comes with everything almost. All right, so this is a little mini screwdriver. I'm sure that'll be useful. I don't know what this little square sticky thing is, but we'll find out. Okay, that's going to be part of a, okay, here are these are tweezers. Can you imagine trying to like pluck your eyebrows with that thing? What I know this does is that it lights up, and so I think these parts come together for that, but we won't be doing that until probably the end. Okay, so remove the tape. Sidebar, please comment if you want to comment. Like if you comment on the video, apparently it will show up on my screen, and we can talk about this. We can talk about politics. We can talk about we can talk about Donald Trump if you want to. I'll just lead with he's orange and old, and what else is there to know? Okay, so remove the tape from the side with the tip of the tweezers. I'm sure that'll make sense when I'm doing it. Confirm the position first when sticking the tape on non-flat surfaces, and then remove the film. Sure. Put small parts into the bag to prevent loss. That's a good tip for life. Cut off the front and back edges with a knife to remove the part. Great. I'm sure that'll make sense too. Remove the part by pressing its back to reduce burrs. B-U-R-R-S. I think I know what that means. Anyway, okay, polish the edges with sandpaper if there are burrs on pieces or it's hard to insert. Oh, okay. All right, so icon illustration, double-sided tape, double-sided adhesive dot, printed side, blank side, special attention in assembly, remove protective film, flip to assemble, if I had a nickel. Tips for assembling, all the dimension, okay, so not perfect English. All the dimension in the instruction is shown in millimeters. The included double-sided tape is an auxiliary tool for sticking. Glue needs self-preparation. That probably means it's kind of some glues are they're two different kind of viscous things that you mix together, and that's what activates them and makes them sticky and then hard. Wow. All right. I just need a scoreboard for all the things that I say out loud that could be sexual. I would like credit for all of them. Let's see here. I'm going to, because I haven't said anything in the comments. Let's see, hello. Sorry in advance for all the sex jokes. There we go. I said .com. Great. So I'm commenting in. Feel free to comment if you'd like. Just, don't make me an accessory to anything felonious. Okay, I'm going to skim through some of this because I'm already bored with it. Only the tool icon appears in the assembly step. Just can be welded. Oh, that can't be right. Do not stick and peel the double-sided tape repeatedly, considering its initial tack. Okay, that sentence, that works. Some parts have spare ones. Cool. Part bag illustration. There's bag number 1 has, they're numbered. Okay. Bag number 1, bag is a loose term. This is more like, this is a lot, like saran wrap together. Plywood, big colored board. Okay. Bag number 2, small colored board. Yeah, sure. Bags number 3 through 6, other parts. Okay, 3, 4. No, that's fine. Okay, 5, 6. Jesus Christ. Okay. And then, oh, good. It shows you what a bag number is. Let's see. Okay, part number illustration. Refer to the part number paper. Find the piece and compare it with the one-on-one figure. Then assemble it after confirmation only for wooden pieces marked with J. Cool. Part illustration list, compare parts bags with the part list. Is that in here? Well, somewhere there's a part list. Oh, guys, this, I think, oh my God, I've never gotten more instructions for a thing in my life. Look at this. Part list. This is more detailed than like, you know, those like instructions on planes for like what to do in an emergency. This is more detailed than that. Tools required, sandpaper. Okay, I think that's what that little square was. It's a tiny little piece of sandpaper. Okay, double-sided tape. Double-sided adhesive dots, tweezers, screwdrivers, scissors. Oh, self-preparation. I think that means I need to use my own scissors. And knife, self-preparation. Fortunately, I have both of those things, but I don't know where. I have off-brand X-Acto knives somewhere, and then I also have scissors. We'll get to that. Okay. All right. What else do I need to? I feel like I should have been training for this. Flour rack. Okay, great. Okay, we're off the races. Always want to be careful opening the plastic of anything because, again, you know, there's the safety, the knife safety I mentioned earlier, but also, you know, you shouldn't assume that you know how it's going to come apart. And sometimes the plastic won't cut the way you expect, and then you end up slicing something that doesn't need to be sliced or shouldn't be sliced, or, you know, cutting apart something that wasn't meant to be. So even still, that's why I'm tentative about this. I would also prefer that this plastic stay kind of like, it's not actually a bag, but kind of stay like a bag-ish for a while, as long as I can, because I would like for it all to fit like that. Because as soon as this plastic is, you know, falling apart, then I have to figure out how to keep track of all these pieces without losing them. Okay, flour rack. God, there are so many. Okay. Oh, you know what? This is a full color instruction booklet, and these are all, you know, already colored. So I guess I can infer from the color of these items what's likely to be for this. Okay, so DG104C. Oh, DG104E. I don't think I need that yet. DG104. This is really intricate. I mean, I've never, ever, ever had any puzzle of any kind before that was this well labeled. When I say that, I'm assuming that it's accurately labeled. You may discover later that they screwed that up, but it's all right. DG104H. By the way, please say stuff in the comments if you have anything to say, anything you want to talk about, questions about politics, the world, you know, things you want to just chat about, whatever you're doing. It's probably more interesting than what I'm doing. So let's see. I bet this is DG104C. It is. Okay, DG104C and DG104E. I did need that. Where was that? DG104E. Okay. So not only are the, there we go. Not only are the little plates, these little sections that come together with these things stuck together, not only are the sections labeled to DG104C, but each component that you're supposed to pop out of it is labeled. That's so much better than IKEA furniture. Okay, find the parts according to their colors first and then shapes. Hey, that's what I did. If there are parts difficult to identify, refer to the part illustration paper in the package. Okay. Printed side. I don't know what that means. Okay. All right, so C4, C3. C4, C3. Yeah, we're going to blow some stuff up. C4 and C3 and nonprofit. Sorry, I don't know. C4, C3. Okay. I'm assuming you can see. Yeah, sure. Okay. So this is C4, C3. Oh, there are two C3s. Yeah, I hope so because I'm breaking it apart. Okay. Okay, so this goes. I don't understand what printed side means. Well, I guess I kind of do. Because, yeah, okay. I mean, sooner or later, I'll figure out if I did this wrong. Oh, okay, so printed side down and printed side in. And we are doing this. See, this is why I wanted to do a 3D puzzle because I mean puzzles are very in difficulty, right? But 3D puzzles just kind of they tickle the brain a little more, I think, for me. They are a whole other thing. Okay, so now I need E2. E2. And so I've turned that way. He said as if he knew what he was doing. I just feel like that should be in there more. But this is actually another good tip for making things, putting things together, dealing with stuff. Most of the time, if you have to force it, you're not doing it right and you could break it. Now, that's not always true. There are exceptions, but you should think very carefully about forcing things that you're trying to put together or build, especially if it's something important, before you do the go all in and try to force it. And even when you do try to force things, you really should be try to minimize that. Do it deliberately, but try not to do more forcing than you have to, because the chances of the chances of fucking it up go higher the more force you put in. So both in terms of how much force and how long you apply the force. And sometimes force done tentatively can cause something to break, because sometimes if you do really need to take a swing at something, it just needs one good brief bit of push. There's got to be a sex joke in there, but I am trying to make something out of what is it? Balsa? Oh, I don't know what kind of wood this is. It smells like I used to go to like the hardware store, and by that I mean Lowe's, not like a local one. And I have this just distinct memories of being in the lumber section, and just smells like like sawed wood, and there are wood chips and stuff everywhere, and it's like that today when you go into a Home Depot or a Lowe's or wherever, or a lumber liquidator. But that memory from childhood is like that's one of my most vivid memories from time I spent with my dad growing up. Although having said that, I guess that's normal. I think sensory memories, like multi-sensory memories, stick the best. Okay. Okay. So I'm not sure I understand what's happening here. So also I'm a little bit dyslexic. And so C3 and E3, they really did not do me any favors by putting those two letters together like that. Could have been C3F3 3. That would have been so much easier. That's all right. I'll just, have an excuse if I fail. So, okay, C3, C2, C3. I see. All right. So this is the same kind of situation as the first step. Again, things, especially things that are wood on wood joints, the part of why they stick, well, if they're well made and they stick, it's because they fit very snugly. I mean, that's most things, I guess, but in particular, wood, like bed frames and stuff like that. And I don't mean wood bed frames you put screws in. I mean ones that interlock that don't need additional like screws and stuff. So, you do have to do a little bit of forcing sometimes because that friction, that tightness is how it stays together. And you have to take that into account when you're assembling it. But you should still be thoughtful and, again, be deliberative about it. If you are going to be, pressing in on something that you're fixing, putting together, whatever, think about it before you do it. Step back. I like to step back and say, is there something I'm missing? Is there a way to do this that I might not be aware of? Also, I like to sometimes be like, what would be the dumb move for me here that people would make fun of me for? People who know better would make fun of me for later. You can't live your whole life like that, but it's not a bad thing to consider when you're working on fixing or building something you've never done that with before. I think those words work in a sentence. Okay. So I have got all of that already, and I'm just going to add this bit. Famous last words, just going to add this bit. It's another thing. Making things should be fun. But just like anything in life, I guess, you shouldn't be flippant about it. You want to be making at least some effort to get it right. Unless you really don't care about the outcome, and that's okay if you don't. We don't all have to care about the same things. And sometimes, actually, I guess, when I think about it, some people unwind by doing things that are poorly. So I just, speaking of forcing, what I've been doing is as I've made this piece is I've been pushing in a little bit because I could tell there was spaces in where I had pressed in some of these tabs into these grooves. But I've been pressing in on them as we go along, and I just pressed a little bit now that it's easier now that it's a sturdy thing. But I just pressed in the little places where there were still gaps, and it clicked in those places. I heard a little click. So now I know that at least some of the time when I'm making stuff in this kit, that clicking sound, that quiet little quick click is something I can look for. Okay, C1. So this is the top of this. And there we go. I got all excited about the clicking sound, and now I'm like just now I'm thinking, oh God, I don't want to get all gung ho and fuck it up. You know what RuPaul says? Good luck and don't fuck it up. Again, please feel free to say things in the chat. Drop me a note. Let me know what you're thinking about. Feel free to make fun of me as I'm doing this. I love to chat about whatever. But if you follow me, you probably know that politics, gay shit, comedy are the things I talk about the most. But having said that, I am a curious person. So I'm curious about what's interesting to you today. So drop me a note in the comments if you have something that's interesting to you right now that you want to mention. Okay, just making sure it took me a while to set up this whole, this 2 cameras setup you would think would be quick, but it actually took me a few hours. But that's kind of why I did this in the first place, because I needed to work out the kinks by doing it. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to make this is the first completed part. All right, now to the chair. And this is going to be on DGA4C. Looking for C5. Looking for 2 E1s. Okay. I wonder if, I was just thinking, I don't know if I can recycle this wood, but I don't think I can. In the city of LA, you cannot put just wood in the green bin. You can put cardboard, but wood is not, you got to treat it like trash. And really, if you're doing 2x4s and stuff, big stuff like that, not only should you do it in the trash, you have to do a whole situation where you order a bulky item pickup. So what happens when you are throwing things away in the second largest city in America? You're going to have a little bit of, got to be specific about what you put in the trash, because there's a whole lot of people's trash to process every day. Also, if you live in the city of Los Angeles and you don't compost, you're actually breaking a rule now. Every household is supposed to compost, but it's really easy. Like, it's really easy. Like, you can order a compost bin of some kind that you can set on your kitchen table or kitchen counter and just put food scraps in all week. And it doesn't, like, if you get a good one, and I don't mean expensive, just one that's well made, it doesn't stink at all. And then you just dump it in the green bin on trash night. So short story long, food scraps can go in the green bin, and that is how we compost in LA. Also, fun fact, you cannot recycle pizza boxes that are greased up. Like, if the cardboard is greasy, you can't recycle that, but you can compost it. Excuse me. So if you have a greasy cardboard box, don't put it in the blue bin, just put it in the green bin. This one's actually kind of hard to get in there. There we go. Okay. 2 down, 5 million to go. You here, wall rack. So we're going to need DG04E. Okay, E4, E5, E6. Here we go. E4, E5, E6. There we go. If you are not watching this live, you're watching this after the fact. How dare you? I'm just kidding. Welcome. I hope you are thoroughly entertained. And even though you aren't watching live, you can still comment, and I'll eventually see it, and I might even respond. E4, and this is E6. And it should go. Huh. I don't think it's supposed to be this hard. This is where a little bit of dyslexia goes a long way. There we go. Okay. Trying to figure out the direction that 2 things are supposed to go in relationship to each other. All right, so now I have made a wall rack, which we'll go with my walrus over here. Easel. Okay, look at this, by the way. I'm done with these 2 thingies. I don't know what we're going to call them. Easel. So we're looking for kind of a darker brown. Sorry if my sniffling bothers you, but this is what I'm going to be doing. DG104F. This is DG. 104H, nope. This is another one that's colored a similar color. DG104G. I think I see it. I don't know what DG stands for. It's probably obvious if I take a step back and look at everything, but I think these are all DG something. Okay, DG 104F. I need F1, F2, F3, and F4. This is interesting. It's a different way. Oh no, there's no way that was okay. This is not cool. There's no way those are supposed to be stuck in there like that. So these are little adhesive circles, and I doubt that very much that they are supposed to be stuck on this the way that they are. I'm going to try and save a few because, I guess now I appreciate that they told me there would be extras, but so I'm worried less about this than I guess I would otherwise be. But I don't want to take anything for granted because sometimes, the worst case scenario is you get something that you're supposed to assemble and it's missing a part. I don't know if this ever happened to you. But that's the hardest problem to solve because you have to talk to somebody in a foreign country call center that's like one of the not great ones, and so they don't speak English as well, and you don't speak their language at all, and so then you're stuck trying to communicate with somebody about needing one piece of something, and it's a volume business. They don't really care that much about little details like that. You don't be in that situation, nor do I, and so hopefully I won't have to find my own solution to some of those little sticky stickers. DG104F, F1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, F1. All right, so we're making an easel. Also kind of reminds me of like a character from Beauty and the Beast. I'm not sure. I guess it's just aha, there we go. Maybe it's the wardrobe, I guess. I don't know, maybe it's just the same style. Victorian, I don't know. I don't know what style things are. I'm not good at that. I know that they exist, and I know that people care about them, and I know that they matter to people, and that they impact the value of an object. I don't know. I do know what mid-century modern looks like. That's kind of let's see here. Oh, and there's a paper cutting. I will need those scissors. Well, okay, we'll get to that. Okay. So it's got etching details, but only on one side. That makes it easier to figure out where something's supposed to go. See, F3. Oh, did I should have. Yikes, I should have paid more attention when I took that off of there. Are these the same? Oh, wait, no. Yes, okay, it's fine, it's fine. Because I didn't pop out F3. Hope you're enjoying watching me do this, by the way, whomever you are, because nobody said anything in the chat. I think I may have just actually torn a little piece of that off because I wasn't paying enough attention. What did I say about that? And yet I did it. Well, we all have to make peace with our mistakes, I guess. No one is flawless. Speaking of no one is flawless, I went to a dinner party last night called a party of interest, I think is what my friend called it. And basically it was like 8 or 9 of us. I think there were 9 of us. And we each had to bring something that we found interesting to talk about. And it could be show and tell or not, but it had to be something we found, something we lately found interesting. And I talked about, okay, I'm going to give you the potentially incoherent setup and then what it brought up, where I got around to with it. So the incoherent setup is I have been rewatching The Expanse on Amazon Prime. And you know, say what you want about Jeff Bezos, I know I do, but they did rescue The Expanse when they got canceled to Sci-Fi, which was um, an amazing turn of events to me personally. It's an incredible show. If you haven't seen it, it's often described as Game of Thrones in space. This is really challenging, and it's because in this world, it's like a few hundred years in our future, and uh, um, and there are three major nation states. One of them is Earth, which includes Luna, the moon, which is colonized and lived on. People live and die on these colonies that I'm about to mention. And then there's Mars, which started out as an Earth colony, but 150, 200 years in, or something like that, they basically decide they want to be their own nation state, and they're very heavily militarized. Actually, kind of a full-on socialist society in ways that are not like and not just in the Medicare for all ways, but it's not a bad place to live. They have an elected government, but it's just like, anyway, short story long, they don't cover that much of the governance of Mars in the show. It's based on books. So they're very heavily militarized, technologically advanced, very academic and smart, clever a society, because the people who started the colony on Mars were all scientists who were there to terraform and do exobiology and all those fun things. Where the fuck does F3 go? All that to say, there's that, and then the third nation state, which is also not fully independent but wants to be, although not nearly as close as Mars, is the asteroid belt, because in that time, humans not only do we get to the asteroid belt, but we mine it on an industrial scale. And have done by the time of the Expanse begins for generations. And so there are people who are born, live and die on the asteroid belt, in the belt, they call it, not having ever been to Earth, because they grew up in such low gravity that they can't tolerate the gravity on Earth without a whole lot of medical intervention. Even people from Mars can't really. All they can do it better though. Okay, I'm getting my scissors. Okay, so where were we? The belt in Mars. Okay, so just so to recap, the Expanse is Earth and Luna, which is part of Earth. Basically, it's all one society governed by the UN. So the UN Secretary General is the leader of Earth, and an elected person. Unlike the way it works now, we don't have to get into how the UN works now. And then Mars, which started as an I'm not talking to Alexa, but she thinks I am. Mars started out as a colony. A couple hundred years later, they basically secede. And the asteroid belt, which they call the belt for short, or always, also wants to secede, but isn't nearly as prepared, fewer resources. But interestingly, like people from Earth and Mars, basically, they have the same vernacular. You wouldn't know the difference between them by their accent or something like that, but people in the belt have a dramatically different society. They have kind of almost like a belter. That's what they call themselves, belters, belter Creole. Like, it's based on English-ish and maybe other languages too. I haven't read the books, but they have a very specific accent that is will be unfamiliar to your ears if you've never heard it. And they have essentially their own language. And so where the Expanse picks up is Earth and Mars and the Belt are kind of in a state of Cold War, because formally Mars hasn't completely been cut off from, like, they haven't completely cut themselves off from being, a vassal state of Earth. They basically have that. They're, I think, resources they still need. And the Belt's very much still reliant on the inner planets, so Mars and Earth. But all three, they're kind of in this Cold War state where, the Mars and the Belt want to fight for their independence and have it. Mars has a military might that equals or maybe even supersedes that of Earth, and the Belt has resources that everybody needs, basically water and air that they cannot. That's what the Belt is mined for primarily, metals too, but Earth and Mars need those things desperately, so they have something. But it's still kind of the Wild West. And so the show picks up. They are all in this Cold War state, and then conflict unfolds. Kind of a supernatural-ish substance is discovered, and that they discover is extrasolar, so it's not from our solar system. And then the whole story goes on. The reason I bring it up is that in one of the episodes that I watched recently, there was a scene where somebody needed to get pretty far across the solar system without being detected. So they couldn't use their primary, engines, because those have a signature, they're detectable. So he used slingshots around celestial bodies like moons and planets and stuff to carry him. And the way that works is, and this is something that Artemis 2 did, by the way, and I didn't fully understand how it worked until recently. But basically, when you take a vessel of some kind, we'll take a spaceship, say, and you slingshot around something like a moon or a planet to speed up, what's happening is you enter, basically, I'm not going to use scientifically correct language, I don't think, here, but basically you enter the gravitational hold of that celestial body. So for the time that you're traveling in that gravitational, I want to say gravity well, but I don't think that's the right word. You are, instead of propelling yourself, you are being propelled by the spin of that planet's gravity, or that body's gravity. So, because Earth, as I'm sure you know, but don't ever think about, is spinning really, really fast all the time. The gravitational field around that Earth generates does that too. And so he does this. And so that's a period of time where you pick up speed on someone else's back, basically. And then he does that a few times and is able to get pretty far without being detected. Also, fun fact, anytime the gravity of anything, but let's say planets, let's make it simple. Anytime something interacts with the gravity of Earth, it does what it does. We know what a bouncing ball looks like. We know what it looks like when a plane lands and takes off. But the planet also moves in kind of an opposite way. And so I don't know if it's always opposite, but basically the planet is always shaking, because every time you take a step, every time a plane takes off and lands, every time you bounce a ball, all those things are create tiny little reactions of in the body that is the gravitational force, the Earth in this case. So you're probably like, you lost me, and I'm like, sorry, but here's where I'm getting to. There's a show that came out of maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8, 10 years ago on, I think, the Discovery Channel, called Into the Universe with Stephen Hawking. And it covers a lot of stuff. It's really quite interesting. It's pop science, but it's still, it's not science. I'm looking for the K part, so I don't, because it's a sheet of paper. So the reason I bring it up is, so in this show, Into the Universe, one of the episodes basically goes into the birth of the universe. And what it talks about is after the Big Bang, context, it's important. The role that Stephen Hawking, I think, still has, is he dead yet? I'm an awful person. The role that Stephen Hawking held for many years was that title at Cambridge was, a couple 100 years or whatever before that, held by Sir Isaac Newton. So Stephen Hawking did this show while having the same exact job as Sir Isaac Newton did when he discovered gravity with the apple hitting him on the head, supposedly. I think Stephen Hawking is dead. I don't know, whatever. Sorry. But what he talks about is, so there's the Big Bang, and that disperses, matter of all the early celestial matter outward. And over billions of years, that stuff comes together and becomes, eventually planets and stars and stuff. But if everything that came from that explosion was all the same size, all had the same mass, and therefore the same amount of gravitational pull, it would all just have stayed out forever in the universe, evenly spaced from each other, suspended by their collective gravitational force that is the same for everybody everywhere. So nothing would ever change. But because it wasn't a perfect system of equal gravity and mass across all objects or whatever, that uneven gravitational pull is what made things come together and made what eventually became stars and planets and stuff like that. And his point was, perfection is not like our universe wouldn't exist if were it not for imperfection. So imperfection is foundational to the existence of our universe. And therefore, essentially everything in the universe has some kind of imperfection built into it, or related to it. And basically, and this is a little bit of an extension into psychology that's maybe a little bit of a leap, but basically his point is, you don't have access to being, you and I, any of us, we don't have access to being perfect. We are creatures of an inherently imperfect universe. Therefore, we cannot be perfect. Imperfection is the highest possible state for us, and that's not a bad thing. And so, here's this, brilliant man who has been through a lot, and climbed great mountains, so to speak, to get to where he did, especially at the time that he did, saying, you can't be perfect, nor should you want to be. And you should embrace your imperfection, because you are an echo of the universe itself in your imperfections. So there's that. Tell your kids that before they go to bed tonight. I need A13 is the sheet. So I have to cut. The reason I got my scissors and goes because I have to cut out something from paper. Okay. I bet if I paid a little more attention to the instructions about where things are, I probably would have not taken so long to figure out. It's like a little crap. Listen, this is so complicated. It's like all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But it's fun. Thanks. That's my roommate. But he is going to get a food delivery. And Maggie, his dog, right here, she is going to be concerned until he gets back. Okay, 13. Oh. Da-da. Didn't need scissors for that. Okay. Find double-sided tape in bag number 1. I did, and then I put it away. They're different lengths, though. Okay. Okay. All right, so this is going to be the canvas. Oh, God damn it. What have I done wrong? Oh, man. Understand. I think this is supposed to split, and I don't know that that's true. So, is this sheet of, I think, there it is. So, I just peeled off the cover instead of the whole sticky part. That makes more sense. Now, that is nowhere nearly as tidy as it is in the instructions, but that's okay. Okay, that'll be easier to apply. Yeah, you know, it's kind of like when you make pancakes or something. The first one, probably not going to be good or great. Probably still edible though. And here we go. Okay, almost perfect. There's a little edge there. Do I want to bother? It's easy to get too perfectionisty like this, and then speaking of, and then you know, ruin all the stickiness of the adhesive. But oh, there needs to be adhesive on that too. Okay. Okay. No, Maggie. Oh, so she goes. All right. Okay. All right. Not perfect, but the clear part or the adhesive part is clear, so it won't be obvious. Maggie, nothing's out there. Just you and your personality over here. Oh man. Also, I feel like my hands are kind of dirty from all these the dust from all these little parts. And I don't know if that might be hurting my ability to get this on there a little bit. Okay. All right. All right. I got the adhesive. Okay, so there's 2 strips of adhesive, one on the back part, and I got it on there. It's a little too high. I might come back with an X-Acto knife later and just trim the top of it off. It's impossible to see, I'm sure, but what's happening? Okay, see here I'm being a perfectionist again, and it's not ideal. All right, I'm not going to pull that off again, even though I still feel like it could be better. Anyway, not a productive way to think about things. This is an extra part. So I guess there were two F2s just in case, and I don't know what to do with that right now. So I'm going to put it here. Where it did say put extra bits in a bag, but I don't know. Which bag it meant. Or maybe it just meant a bag. But I will go ahead and do that. I'm going to put it in bag 3 because all the other things are very much not like it. Oh, my overhead camera may not last for forever. Oh, I can actually. Haha. There we go. Charging that thing. Okay. All right. I got to be careful with this. Okay. I have a tendency to want to rush into the next thing, and so I got to be careful that I don't, hurriedly putting stuff away that is going to get squished or bent or broken because I didn't put it away the right way. I have, for the most part, made peace with the fact that I'm not a very tidy person. I just don't have, my brain doesn't do that. But I do at least try when it comes to things that are hard to replace or things that are important to me or I guess valuable. Be deliberative, or deliberate, whatever I want to say, about putting those things away. And now I'm frustrated with this, so I'm going to do that later. No, Maggie. Oh, no, to show her. No. She's going to do that for a minute. It's a delight. One of my favorite things. Okay, so this is in bag 2. No. Yeah, I was being all about that. God damn it. Okay. Put away all the non-blue stuff. Oh, paper cutting. Ooh, knobs. So we got all these little blue bits. Got some paper, just probably stick on. And there are doorknobs. Okay. And we're on to another page. A bit of paint powder falling off is normal during inserting. I bet. Okay, so J4, J10. Look at that. It's not so difficult. Brian, what did you get? Burrito makes me hungry. Okay. Oh, 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 when I'm cutting, hit and run. This is the only piece that has that arrow on it. Straight up now, tell me, do you really want me? Is it gonna be you and me forever? Am I cutting, hit and run? Oh. Okay. J8. J8. Okay. Straight up now, tell me forever. Or are you just having fun? Do-do-do. This is hard. Yeah. I did that wrong. I bet that'll make more sense now. Come on. Do-do-do-do-do. All right. Huh. Okay. It'll be stable once it's all in there together. But until then, it's flimsy as fuck. Flimsy AF. Oh, there we go. There we go. The tension is working. The tension is tensioning. Hmm. Understand the point of that. I don't understand the point of this piece. Oh, probably it's how it gets anchored in. So this little nub right here just doesn't make sense initially why it would be there. It doesn't have a purpose, but I bet it's how it gets attached to. Yeah, but it gets attached with these three. Uh, there you are. Tilt to insert, it says. Not a nickel. Okay. Okay, I need a protein board. Okay. Ooh. Right on top.
All right. I'm going to get a microwave thingy cover to thing that you can just
Cool.
get something
Yeah, it's a lot. It's tedious.
cumbersome.
Cumbersome. Okay, well, those little fucking strip stickers. Different lengths, and I think it's this length that I want. I don't know what accent that is. If it's racist, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. This is working better. It's working better. It's working better. Gotcha. Okay. I'm just trying to peel that off without taking the sticky part too. That is not as easy as I'd hope. Come on, little sticker. Come on, little sticker. I think. Oh yeah, that did. I have to wash my hands in a minute. The silt from all this stuff, the dust is kind of getting swept up on these sticky parts when I try to avoid touching them. Okay, I bet this is going to be. I have to line up the holes in this tiny little piece of paper with the holes in this only slightly larger piece of wood. Maybe I should have done this before I did the. Oh, you know what? I think I know a way around this. Six. Okay. Okay. Tiny little things. Okay, I think those are my. Yeah, these are what I'm looking for. That was not really wise for me to just pour it all out like that, but I wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear all the little metal and plastic pieces clanking up against each other. All right, here's the way around I was thinking about. Since I already put the adhesive on there and I already put the, I'm just gonna poke the, like putting an earring in, I guess. Poke the little, and this is how what I'm doing here is this is how I'm gonna attempt to line up the holes in the paper with the holes in the wood. I'm not really, I've got to figure out how to get good at remembering where this is. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, this is not going as planned. What I'm going to try and do is see if I can, the hole may need to be made bigger. I can do it. No. This is a great example of, a little bit of forcing is okay because the tension is what's supposed to hold something together. Maybe. Or it's not that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this hole's just needed to be stretched out a little. Come on. Ow. If you're just joining or you've been here for a bit and haven't said anything, please feel free to comment. I am using a new streaming platform, so I actually can't be sure that I'm seeing your comments. So please, do comment a hello if you feel so inclined, so I can at least see if something comes through. Okay, I just successfully, I hope, got those holes widened up, stretched them out, and now this paper will go in there without totally getting fucked. Of course, all this stuff I'm doing is potentially going to tear up the paper anyway. So it'll get fucked for a different reason. That's not the goal, though. Oh, actually, maybe I can. Maybe really useful right now would be a light under. Oh, it's up there. Never mind. No, Maggie. No. So this one, when I say she insists, but she's laughing about it. She'll bark about it, but she's not going to go and vet. She's going to make noise. Want to get acknowledged. It's really tedious, to be honest. It spikes my cortisol sometimes, but that's the challenging part of having pets, I guess. Although, look at that. Only took me 20 years. One more hole. Okay. If you can hear, I don't know if you can hear in the background or not, but as I mentioned before, we put on like basically playthroughs of people just, make long videos for YouTube, like hours long of their, just going through the Disney parks, like on the rides and stuff. They don't say anything. And right now, the Haunted Mansion is the video that's on. And so if you've ever ridden the Haunted Mansion, you know about the woman in the, like the fortune teller who's, she's, her head is in the crystal ball. That woman, that voice, that face is a real person, not an actor. She was an Imagineer when they were designing that ride. So she was not a performer, but she did that, and that stayed in the park, in the ride for years until they did a massive refurbishment of that ride some years ago. And so they needed to record something new, and they brought in her daughter. I think she was already passed. They brought in her daughter, and I think that's so lovely. I mean, we think about companies like Disney as these big old evil corporations. I'm not saying they're not, But sometimes they do go out of their way to do lovely little things like that. And I guess it's worth acknowledging. Having said that, I can think of 3 or 4 friends of mine who, if they heard me say that right now, would be like, nope. Okay, I think I'm done with this. Yes, because these little nubbins, I'm going to call them, for lack of a better term, are probably the kind of plug in to a surface of this thing, I'm betting. Anyway, put that there. And I'm going to make at least one more piece. So round chair, DG 104 from bag 2. Oh, well. Ah. Okay, it's J1 and J2. Do that carefully because that's a risky proposition. Oops. Okay, there we are. 1, 2. What is this? Is this coming on? Okay. Okay, there's only 2 of these, and it's probably my fault, but I need 3. I don't know where they are. Okay, here's the other piece from them. Oh man. What I'm going to do is assemble as much of this as I can with the parts I have. And hope that either I lost a piece and it'll show up, or there is an extra somewhere in here. Because the instructions did say there would be extras. Wasn't super clear about it, but they did say it. So we're going to go ahead and, oops, take that as the truth. There's some really cool parts in here that I can't wait to get to. But this is going to be in a bit. All right, so, gosh, I hope that I didn't. Well, I hope it's a problem that gets solved. Man, I hate that. You know, I'm crafty, TM, so I'm a crafty homosexual TM. There we go. That's better. I could trademark that, maybe. So I could probably approximate one of these by taking an X-Acto knife and cutting out a piece from some spare, wood, I'll call it. I don't know if that's wood. I guess it is. But for now, it's going to be look at that. Look at this dinky little thing. A table with 2 legs. A three-legged table with 2 legs. I dated a guy like that once. K2. Oh. K21. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so I think this makes sense. The other parts thing is, I think other parts is like, here's some other stuff that you'll also find when you're looking for this thing. It's not stuff we need right now, but here it is. And having said that, I'm going to get out. This is actually lovely timing because I was hoping I would get to these. These are the, glass bits. Do, 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 do. On the hunt for S3. Oh, I see it. There it is. There we go. Do, 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 do. Okay. 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 So this is where the littlest stickers come in, I think. So use one. Yeah, it's hard to show, but like, so they're the longest ones, medium length ones, and then there are a whole bunch of short ones. Nothing wrong with being short, unless you're a short top. JK, sort of. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Okay, so this is a little paint palette, little piece of paper, paint palette shaped piece of plastic, and put the sticker on the wrong side. God damn it. I don't think I can reuse this one. Although, of the things that need to be replaced, that might need to be replaced, this is the easiest thing to find an alternative for in my own home. Actually, I could have kept it on there because I need to stick it to the tape. Oh, well. Anyway. Mischief fucking managed, I guess. Well, that would imply things went well, I guess. Okay. All right. All right. Alexa, play brown noise. See if that helps.
Here's brown noise from Alexa Ambient Sounds.
Oh, okay. I'm beginning to think I know where that leg went. You know what? I'm going to put this back on after I do this. When I bought this puzzle thingy, I'm calling it a puzzle. I don't think they call it a puzzle. When I bought this on Amazon, it was like $50 or something. I was like, this better be worth it. And I think it was. Because I feel like, you know, what things are supposed to cost is such a warped thing to kind of have a feeling about anymore. But I think I do kind of have this expectation that if something costs more than $10 or $15, even if it costs $15, it needs to have some kind of quality to it, which is unreasonable because there's nothing, very few things in this world cost $15 are actually that high quality or worth, much at all. But because it's called inflation, kids. And it's been happening since there was currency. But this was 50 something. I feel like it was worth the purchase price. Oh, this is a part. Okay, now I think I'm gonna start figuring out where parts that I may have misplaced are. So, all right, y'all. Some of y'all been here for a bit. Nobody said anything. Feel free / please chime in. Have a word or three with me. Share something. What are you most excited for this week? What have you appreciated about this weekend? Has it been refreshing? Has it been engaging? Is the weather this weekend better than the weather last weekend? You know, something. Talk to me. I'm alone and afraid. I'm not alone and afraid. I can't keep up that ruse. Ooh, okay. That was a tear. That's what I was saying. Be careful with these plastic things. They tear real easy. Oh, I don't want to do that though. I don't want to put the sticky part toward the printed part. I was just begging to fuck it up. Come on, man. Oh, I see. One little corner. Okay. Oh. Well, when I get done with this, I'm going to wash my hands and get some of the lots of dust that is on my hands off them, I guess. And I might go crazy and order delivery from one of my favorite restaurants, Plaza Nova. They Brazilian place, and you know, I couldn't tell you if it's authentic or not. That's not something I know about. But I do know it's delicious. I think this may. Nope, I'm not even going to try and stuff that in there. Well, trying any harder than I just did. Okay. So I dare you there we go. All right. Maybe some of the things I'll try and fit in here. I don't really have enough. I haven't made enough to have a bunch of space in here yet. It's empty. But I also don't have enough that I can just safely put stuff by itself. Like here's the stuff I've made so far because it's just mostly little pieces, and you easily lose one of those if it's not in a contained spot. So that is why I'm doing this right here, at least for now. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back around it because I want to have it held together. There we go. Oh. Well, kids, it's been real. It's been fun. Thanks for joining me. Next time, please actually comment. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. And there's no way you're not bothered by something happening in this world right now. I encourage you to find some little way to do something about it. Okay, bye.